This video, I'm going to be breaking down a little blitzing concept out of the Minnesota Vikings defensive playbook. If you guys want to get my entire Minnesota defensive ebook, it's going to be in our school community. If you're not a school member yet, it's only $10 to get you access to all of our offensive and defensive ebooks, both for Madden and for College Football 25. And today we're going to be taking a look at the nickel 3-3-5 odd formation. This is one of my favorite formations in the game. And actually really simple defense. All you're going to do is you're going to turn auto flip off. Pretty much everything else you could pretty much leave standard. I really like to have baseline on, option defense conservative. And then I normally go with hooks on 5 in this year's game. Now, the blitzing concept we're going to be showing you today is going to be the LB Cross 3 Show 2. I think this is one of my favorite defenses in the game and probably one of the best blitzes so far. So what you're going to do with this defense and what makes it really good is this is a stock loop defense that is really simple to set up. All you have to do is spread your defensive line, and then from there you can use either of these linebackers. What I like to do is stand on here with this user like this, and what you're going to see is that this loop is pretty clean. It's going to simply a nice little send 4 out of this that you can do. Again, all you gotta do is just spread your line, and then if you wanted to, you can create really whatever coverage that you want to create off of this defense. I really like to create like a cover 3 cloud look or something like this, but again, as you see, just super simple. And if they pass off, what makes this blitz I think really good is if they pass off that blitzer like that, what typically was going to happen is this lineman will get an instant shed animation. Now, if you were to set the blitz like this and stand over here, you're going to see that you still get that same loop concept. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you about this defense I think is kind of cool is if we go into our coach adjustments, what we can do here is we can go to the CB inside package. This is the CB1 inside package. And then we're actually going to go ahead and flip this LB Cross 3 Show 2 look. And this is going to give us a little bit of a different way in which the blitz is going to work. And so if we flip this defense, what you're going to see now is you're going to still spread your defensive line. But now if you kind of set it up like this, this is going to be super good pressure. You're going to see that you're going to get that nice cross loop. Of course, the one time I hype it up, it gets picked up. But anyway, you're going to get it off both sides, off of either way. I actually forgot to let me put my safety back in there. Ideally, you don't want to have a linebacker looping. Ideally, if possible, you want to have a safety looping. So we're going to go ahead and put our safety back in. With CB inside package, you have to sub out and sub back in your players. Otherwise, they won't be in the right spots. But what this allows us to do is when you set it up like this, now this left side guy becomes a linebacker instead of a defensive lineman. And then, you can pretty much create any kind of defense you want. Cover 4 show if you want to do something like that. But as you'll see here, this time he will possibly loop. And then, I don't know why. Why am I using that guy? Let's, I don't know what's going on here. Well, and you can also send it like this as well. But I pretty much like it just stock. I think that blitz angle is a little bit different and a little bit better. But anyways, this is the nickel 3-5 odd. Now, if you're sending this blitz like this and it's consistently getting picked up, just slant your line inside. And just that simple act of slanting your line inside will get you a little better fight from those outside guys. So you can do that as well to get better sheds. Another thing that you can do with this defense is if you show blitz on a flip look and you slant the defensive line to this left side like so, you can sometimes get kind of an interesting little cross blitz, but didn't get it right there in practice mode. But anyway, 3-3-5 odd little concept. Another thing that I didn't show yet is if you leave this defensive tackle over here, this it could still come in. It's harder for some of your other blitzes within this defense to come in, and so that's kind of why I like to do that. Another thing that I didn't show you that I needed to about the stock setup is there's actually something really cool that you can do with this from a stock perspective. So if we don't flip it, what we're going to do is we're going to spread our D-line and we're going to show blitz. And now you see how they walk down like this? What you're able to do is if you're willing to stand kind of over in here with your user and just run to the right side fast, a lot of times he can still loop in like you saw right there. That's another variation of the hover that you can do. You don't have to hover on the left side if you don't want to. You can hover on the right side for this one. There's a little bit more flexibility. For example, like let's say you don't want to hover at all, right? Let's say you want to get real deep back here and just play like a kind of a Tampa 2 shell. This should still loop, as you see it does. So it's a nice little 4-man loop. There's just a lot of variety that you can do with it. Another thing that I like to do to get my safeties in the box is I'll click onto this guy. I'll like move him like so, and then I'll click off of him. And, you can kind of set the defense up like this as well. And again, same type of idea. And you're seeing, pretty consistent loop. A lot of it just depends on kind of how we hover that guard. And really, I think the best hover is probably something like this. Like this is pretty good because the guard's going to shoot out. You want that guard to shoot out. That's really the key to the whole thing. And as you see, the blitz comes in. Another little tip for loop blitzes this year is slant to the side you're looping to. So you'll see here, I'm going to slant to the right side. And what you see is you get that nice kind of swap off, that nice pass off, that nice little loop. So anyways, this is the 3-5 odd defense. This is just one variation of it. There's a lot of ways to run this defense, but this is one that I really like just because I think it's one of the more consistent 4-man loops right now. And you can do a lot with the coverage on the back end, right? If you want to play cover 2, you can do that. If you want to make it a cover 4, you can do that. The one thing here is if you tap this guy and then show blitz, it really does create a really nice alignment from your safeties. So that's something else that I did want to just kind of briefly mention. But anyway, this is how to run the 3-5 odd LB Cross 3 show 2 pressure.